برحمة آل محمد صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وأينا حتى تسكنه أرزك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. صلوات. अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना, अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना के बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है, अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना। जी चाहता है आपकी तस्लीम को उठो, रुतबे का तकाज़ा है कि ताज़ीम को उठो। मुश्किल है मगर हाथ कले जैसे हटाना के बाबा के बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है, अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना। ये सोच के अकबर का फटा जाता है सीना की आवाज न सुन ले कहीं मासूम सकीना। सज्जाद को आहिस्ता जरा जाके बताना कि बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है। अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना। अल्लाह करे लौट के तुम जाओ वतन को, मजबूरियां भाई की बता दे ना बहन को। तुम मेरी तरफ से उसे सीने से लगाना के बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है। अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना। मैं जानता हूँ जिद वो बहुत तुमसे करेगी, तन्हा तो मैं ज़ैनब कभी आने नहीं देगी। मक़तल में मेरी पालने वाली को न लाना के बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है। अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना के बाबा मेरे सीने में सीना टूट गई है। अम्मा की निगाहों से मेरा ज़ख्म छुपाना। बरहमद वाले मोहम्मद सलावत अल्लाह। So I'll be reciting a Noha, Hussein Janam Hussein, and you all have to say Janam Hussein Jan with me, yeah? What do you have to say? Janam Hussein Jan. And I'll request the boys to move a bit closer so that, yeah. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. You have to recite with me, yeah? You have to recite.
سلام کعبه دلغا حسین جان سلام کعبه دلغا حسین جان سلام شمع محفلغا حسین جان.
So I will say,
حسین جانم حسین.
you have to say,
جانم حسین جان.
yeah?
حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین
Janam Hussein Jan.
حسین جانم حسین.
Are you feeling shy? Why? Yalla.
حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین. سلام کعبه دلغا حسین جان سلام کعبه دلغا حسین جان سلام کعبه دلغا حسین جان سلام شمع محفلغا حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین. مقصد زندگی ہے تیری خدمت میں نہیں مانگتا ہوں کوئی دولت دے دے بس دولت عزا حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم louder حسین جانم حسین جانم ماشاءاللہ حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم ماشاءاللہ حسین جانم حسین. سلام میوه کلب پیامبر سلام میوه کلب پیامبر سلام زاده زهرا حسین جان حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین. प्यासी बच्ची को जब मारे तमाचे प्यासी बच्ची को जब मारे तमाचे नन्हे हाथों से वो जख्म छुपाए रो के कहती रही बाबा हुसैन जान हुसैन जानम हुसैन जानम حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین. غربت فاطمہ کرب و بلا میں غربت فاطمہ کرب و بلا میں ہائے وہ علامہ دشت بلا میں نہ بھلا پائے گی دنیا حسین جان حسین جانم حسین louder حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین حسین جانم حسین.
You know, when you come to the majlis, if you just stay quiet, that's not going to work. You have to say with me. Hussein Janam Hussein. 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 أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد. I need a louder salawat. أفلح من صلى على محمد وآل محمد.
पर मोहम्मद वाले मोहम्मद सलवात.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين باعث الأنبياء والمرسلين، والصلاة والسلام على خير خلقه وخاتم أنبيائه وسيد رسله سيدنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المطهرين المكرمين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك سيدي ومولاي يا أبا عبد الله، وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوات. قال الله العظيم في كتابه الكريم وهو أحسن القائلين وأصدق الصادقين: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. آمنا بالله صدق الله العلي العظيم. For the purification of the souls, the enlightenment of the hearts, the acceptance of the deeds, and for the hastening of the reappearance of the awaited Savior, Ajjallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, enlighten your souls and the atmosphere with the recitation of salawat upon Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad. Respected elders, sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. How amazing are the personalities in Karbala and the shuhada that remain eternal in terms of their sacrifice and their stance on the 10th of Muharram. Each and every one of us respects and reveres those individuals headed by Sayyid al-Shuhada alongside his family and companions for what they stood for and how they continue to be the role models for you and I. But the question today is, these excellent individuals, how did they become what they became? Meaning, when you look at the examples of both men and women, individuals who demonstrated the best of qualities and principles on the day of Ashura, there is an important association that comes along with the fact that they were in households, indeed, that demonstrated the importance of the correct upbringing, tarbiyah, and indeed parenting. Today, one of the biggest challenges that many of us face is indeed the correct upbringing of the children. When you look around the Western world and you speak to parents, many of them will tell you and I that perhaps one of the main concerns that many Muslim communities have is how the youngsters are being brought up in a world that is pushing all kinds of ideas and different beliefs across different platforms, whether it is the rainbow LGBT movement, or indeed if it is the influence of social media or technology, or indeed the relevance of Islam in the lives of our children and our youth. Many parents come forward and say, arguably, it's one of the hardest times to be a parent. It's one of the most difficult times to indeed take on that responsibility of bringing up a child. They say, we are concerned. We are concerned because we hear examples of some of the youth who have unfortunately left the path or have dissociated from the teachings of the religion of Islam. They are concerned because some are beginning to question their own practices and have become less attached to their faith. They are concerned because of the influence on friends, the influence on social media that indeed exists. And today, therefore, the discussion on how we must ensure that our children are Husseini is amongst the most important discussions. That applies to those who are not yet married, applies to those who are married without children, applies to those who are married with children, applies to the grandparents who may have passed on the torch, yet at the same time remain important when it comes to guiding their sons and daughters on the correct way of the tarbiyah. Because make no mistake about it, the tarbiyah element and the upbringing of children today will differ to how, for example, it was utilized perhaps 15, 20 years ago, with some similarities. But without a shadow of a doubt, today we have to look at a number of other aspects in order for us to not to be left behind. This area is important when we look at examples from the glorious life of the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, especially the wonderful household of Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib and Sayyidatun Nisa Fatima az-Zahra salawatullahi wa salamu alayhim. In the recognition that they are wonderful exemplars when it comes to how to be a good father, how to be a good mother, how to nurture our children in the right way, and how to ensure that the household is one that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I tell you, when you and I look up to these individuals, we begin to understand the heroes in Karbala didn't just emerge overnight. When you and I stand in awe of Hussein ibn Ali, when we stand in admiration for Zainab and Kulthum, when we praise the likes of Abbas and Akbar and Qasim, these are individuals that were brought up in these excellent households. We must somehow unlock the secrets. What is it that they were fed? What is it that they were taught? How did they become what they became on the 10th of Muharram? And what they achieved in terms of their sacrifice. Because when you look at the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises this household. In which way? Allah tabarak wa ta'ala tells us His light, His nur, is what? Is something that keeps everything alive and enlightens everything. Allahu nurus samawati wal ard. It's not like the light that we are accustomed to. It is indeed generative light, meaning that life begins and continues through the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Surah An-Nur, chapter 24, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then describes this light and says in the next ayah, في بيوت أذن الله أن ترفع. This light of Allah is found in certain households in which He has allowed it to be raised. These households is allowed it to be upheld. The question here is, which households are they? The Holy Prophet, Ar-Rasul al-A'zam Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. indeed was asked in a number of references, such as Allama Hafidh Jalaluddin al-Suyuti in Durr al-Manthur, non-Shia, and a number of other scriptures and texts. He is asked, Ya Rasulullah, which houses are they in which the light of Allah is found? He says, the houses of prophets. So one of the companions stands up and says, Ya Rasulullah, Abaytu Ali wa Fatima minhuma. Is the household of Ali and Fatima one of them? The Prophet answers with an emphatic answer, an answer that bases the foundation for our discussion this evening. He says, Bal min afdalihima. Indeed, the house of Ali and Fatima is amongst the best places and the households in which you and I obtain the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why when we look at this household, it's of the utmost importance that we learn a number of key lessons that we can apply on this parenting journey. This is a journey that Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala rewards the parents. I tell you, if all of us begin to think about this before marriage, how many people think about how will they will raise their children before they find their husband or wife? How many people think about the vision regarding the future and how we will ensure that our community remains strong, that the followers of Ahl al-Bayt in the Western world do not lose their identity, are not influenced by these isms and these movements? It's very easy to lose track of the severity of the problems that we have out there. And you only need to speak to scholars and community activists, and they'll tell you of the wide range of issues that we are facing today. Do you think that we are only facing an issue regarding the influence, for example, of the LGBT movement on our communities as far as its acceptance? Or is it that our communities across the Western world, when I say our, I mean the Shia communities, are indeed now confronted with individuals from within the community, mainly youngsters, who come forward and say, and I identify myself as a transgender, I am myself as a gay or a lesbian. There are these individuals that we hear on a continuous basis. I remember just last Muharram, I received a call whilst I was in the United States of a family in the United Kingdom in one of the cities. They said that our daughter, she is 17, she has gone to the police. Why? Because she says to the police that I am a man and my family, Shia family, respectful, practicing family, is refusing to accept that I am not a girl, that I am a boy, and therefore I seek refuge. I don't want to be with my family anymore. Therefore, the recognition today is that we have to be alert and we have to have vision and to have these discussions through interactive sessions, through workshops, through analysis, through guidance that we obtain, but importantly by looking at exemplary individuals. Because today there are mistakes being committed as far as parents are concerned. Let me ask you a question. If parents today, and I know many here are parents, are asked this question, when your child is 2 or 3 years of age, you begin to think that I have to introduce Islam to them. Do you agree? I have to make sure that they know about Islam. So what's the first thing you introduce your children to as far as Islam is concerned? They'd say, I have to teach him or her how to pray. I have to teach him or her what's halal and what's haram. I have to teach him or her, for example, to make sure that they do not do things which displease Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Many of the parents, they say that's what we start the journey with. The problem is though, the Qur'an's presentation of what a parent should do is not this. This is not what we are supposed to do. You ask me why? What do you mean? Are we not supposed to teach our children halal and haram and teach them prayers? All this is important, but this is not the beginning. This is the result. You say to me, what do you mean? I don't understand. Give me examples. One great example in the Quran is Luqman. Allah Ta'ala gives a story of this great individual who is not a prophet, yes? An entire chapter has been named after him. But Allah tells us of a conversation between the father and his son. The father and his son are having these conversations. Luqman is educating his son. وَإِذْ قَالَ لُقْمَانُ لِابْنِهِ وَهُوَ يَعِظُهُ. There is always this interaction. They are spending time together. We will touch on this. He will say to him what? Oh my dear son, pray. No. oh my dear son, beware halal and haram. No. The first thing that Quran tells us that Luqman is educating his child is that connection with his creator, that relationship with Allah, that belief and aqeedah. That's the foundation. That's the basis. Why? Today I am indeed surrounded by so many requests and emails and messages. Oh, Maulana, my 9-year-old refuses to wear hijab. My 12-year-old does not want to fast. My 15-year-old does not want to pray. What's going on here? From a young age, what we have said to them, you must do it. They say, okay, but why? No, you must do it. And then what? I remember one individual once came and said to one of the scholars, he said, Maulana, Sahib, I have clocked how to make sure my son prays when he is baligh. He's already baligh and now he prays all the time. I have the secret. I want you to tell people about the secret. So the Sheikh said to him, what's the secret? He said, barbecue chicken. So he said, what do you mean barbecue chicken? Are you someone who rewards him every time he prays? He said, no, that's not good enough. He said, then what is it? He said, Maulana, every time he refuses to pray, I say to him, come, let's see how this barbecue chicken is prepared. The moment he sees it, I say to him, can you see the fire? He says, yes. I say to him, Allah will barbecue you in Jahannam. This is unfortunately comical, but it's real. In the sense that we feel if I instill fear in the heart of my child, they will do it. I ask you, you instill fear from a young age. When they are later free at college or at school, that's the moment. Hijab is off. Salah, forget it. Oh, they'll tell you they're praying, but they're not praying. And therefore the recognition today is we need to be able to nurture the children according to the Islamic principles so that we obtain these Husayni, Alawi, Wila'i children in the path of Ahlul Bayt. May Allah bless that young boy who is 12. I heard his story. In one of the countries in the Middle East that have Shia phobia, meaning that if you are a follower of the Ahlul Bayt, you are not necessarily allowed to practice your faith. And therefore, many people are not be able to express that they are Shia. He was at school, and at the class, his teacher was talking about the biography of the Holy Prophet. He reached the point where he said in the final year of the life of the Prophet, he did what's known as Hajjatul Wada, the final pilgrimage, the farewell pilgrimage. And then he went back. So he raised his hand. He asked the teacher, he said, sir, didn't he stop at a place known as Ghadir Khum? The teacher said, yes. According to many narrations he did, but it's not important. The student said, why? He said, because when he stopped in Ghadir Khum, he declared to his community that Ali was his friend. It was his habit to tell people that what? That there were people amongst his companions were his friends. Yet he died, the teacher said, without appointing a successor. Now, after a short few days, the teacher, which was a habit which continues now in India, Pakistan, in the Middle East, in many places in Africa, the teacher leaves the class to go and complete a task and make sure that one of the children is his deputy. So the child stands there to ensure everything is done, and everyone must obey the child. And the teacher will come back and ask the child to sit down. So on that instance, the teacher chose that Shia boy. He said, I'm going to go for 5 minutes. Everybody please listen to him. Whatever he asks you, do your work. I don't want any chaos or any fights. He leaves, comes back. 5 minutes later, everything is fine. He says to the Shia boy, sit down. The boy doesn't sit down. He's standing there. So the teacher says, why are you not sitting down? He said, because I have a problem. He said, what's your problem? He said, I am finding it difficult to understand something. It is really bothering me. He said, what's bothering you? Tell me. Explain it to the class. Let's answer your question. He said, sir, you left for 5 minutes and you made sure that I am there, so make sure that the class is not in chaos. But you expect Rasulullah to leave the religion of Islam without appointing a successor? So the teacher looks at him and says, how dare you? You are contradicting me. I told you the Prophet never left a successor. Now I will instruct that you must be expelled from the school. He said, very well. Here, go to the head teacher, tell him this is what's happening. So the boy, Shia boy, goes to the head teacher. When he goes to the teacher says, what's the issue? He says to him, the issue? He says to him, tomorrow you come back with your wali, meaning the person in charge of you, guardian, and we will expel you from the school. How dare you contradict your teacher in front of the students? Next day, the head teacher's door is knocked. He enters. This young boy, 12, 11 years of age, enters. The teacher says, where is your wali? He says, outside. He says, bring him. So he brings him. Who is it? A friend of his. Also 11. He's standing there. Head teacher is enraged with anger. He says, how dare you? I asked you to bring someone who is in charge of you. He said, what word? The boy said to him, what word did you use? He said, wali. That's very well understood. Don't you understand? He said, I understand. Your teacher taught us the term wali on the day of Ghadir means friend. Therefore, I bought my friend. The teacher said, no. When I said wali, it is in the context. You must understand. When I said to you, bring your wali, it means someone who is in charge of your affairs. That's what I meant. The boy looks at the head teacher and said, you use your brain, because Rasulullah, when he stops 120,000 people, Allah is commanding him to indeed announce the successor to him when he says, Man kuntu mawla, fahadha aliyun mawla. Whomsoever I am the master, I have authority, Ali has the authority. That you need to understand. Therefore, this young child had the honor of what? Of defending the Ahl al-Bayt, the Shia identity, the knowledge to be able to have that discussion. Today we need to raise our children with that particular spirit. And that's why I'd like to indeed look at a few examples from the life of these two holy individuals in order to be able to indeed bring forward these wonderful lessons so that we can indeed have practical demonstrations from the mimbar of Imam al-Hussein salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. The first area of great importance in this journey is that parents need to recognize that children learn more through actions than words. Please understand this. I know you may have come across this before, but it's the most important element in the demonstration of a successful parent. What does this mean? This means some parents complain that my child is not connected to prayer. Sometimes they say they're watching things on their phone, or they're addicted to their smartphones or to their iPads or to their technological devices, and they don't want to do anything else. They don't want to, for example, do other activities. What is the main issue? The main issue is that they see their parents doing the same thing. That parents today must act as the best exemplars and role models when it comes to making sure that their children do what they believe is important. What do we mean in this particular regard? When it comes to their ibadat, when it comes to their aqaid, when it comes to their spirituality, take no other consideration and make no mistake about it. If both the husband and the wife, the father and the mother, are committed in making sure that the environment in the house is that of what? Of a true nurturing, the children will indeed also be inspired by this. What do I mean? If it is salah time, and there is an indication of salah time, get these adhan Shia clocks. If you don't have them at home, get them. You know, you might think why it is insignificant, but it is absolutely important. Why? It creates the atmosphere. The moment the father hears the adhan or the mother hears the adhan, and the child is brought up from a young age seeing that the father and the mother is very, very concerned that it's prayer time and we're not praying. They take it seriously. It's a priority for them. It imprints on them. It makes a massive difference. That's number one. Number two, the other thing that's of the greatest importance here is as far as akhlaq. What do we mean? If the father or the mother lies, cheats, deceives, lies to the child, lies to his wife, lies to others, for example. If the mother or the father watches things, someone once told me, Maulana, don't worry. I watch things, but my child doesn't know because, I have my own account on YouTube and Netflix. So the child doesn't know what I'm watching. Wrong. You and I as parents must lead by example. Allah, number one, knows what we are watching. Number two, the child definitely finds out. If I place attention to the Quran, if I place attention to mustahabbat, if I am keen on ziyarah and indeed remembering Ahl al-Bayt and attending majalis and listening to sermons, that culture, without a shadow of a doubt, will rub off when it comes to my children. Look at the example of these two holy individuals. How many times have we come across the famous story of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam in Surah Al-Insan? وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا. For 3 consecutive days they gave their food to the poor, to the captive, and indeed to the orphan. I ask you, when Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidatun Nisa made that vow that they will fast because they wanted their children, namely Hassan and Hussein alayhi salam, to be cured. When they made that nidhr, what happened? Did Hussein and Hassan, did they have to fast also? No. Their children. It's not wajib on them. And indeed, we are told in narrations that as far as children are concerned, they are not necessarily the right age to establish a nidhr, a vow in Sharia law, in fiqh. However, they were so inspired by their parents' dedication that they decided that, what? We'll follow our parents as well. We will do what it takes. And therefore, when they saw that their parents are giving the food for the first day and the second day and the third day, and they saw this example, don't be surprised that in Karbala, Sayyid al-Shuhada feeds the animals of his enemies. You say, how did it happen? When he tells them, give the water to my enemies, and he sees some of their animals and he feeds them himself, according to riwayat. It's because he was nurtured in a household of generosity, a household in which his parents led by example. And that is of the utmost importance in this particular regard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Holy Quran, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاسْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. Make sure that your family are performing salah, but make sure you do it properly before that. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاسْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا means you must be steadfast in making sure that your prayers is correct and in the right manner. That's why this is something that can never be neglected. In this aspect, please understand, there's a very important point here. Our children, when it comes to the household, they pay attention. They pay attention to the way that the husband and the wife, the father and the mother speak to each other. And what is it that they converse? If the husband and the wife are always talking about finances and materialism, I will need to buy this. I will need to save up to go to this holiday. I need to make sure that I have enough money. Today I don't have enough money. If everything in the house is all about money, buying, materialism, the child is raised with the understanding that success in this dunya is about wealth. Success is about being rich. If, for example, I as a parent look up and have on my Instagram certain individuals that I follow or I speak about all the time, and I praise celebrities, for example, people that are not role models for you and I as believers, but some people just like them because of the way they look, the way they speak, whatever. What is this doing? It's sending messages to the children. Whether you like it or not, they know. They will pick it up from a very, very young age. Some people say, what is this? CCTV? I can't be free. I can't decide what I want to do. You've decided to become a parent. How many times we have seen in the Quran, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. Allah places the respect and the obedience to parents straight after Tawheed. Why? Parents have a huge responsibility. It's not a joke. It's not something to take lightly. At the end of the day, it comes with a massive responsibility from Rabbil Alameen. And hence, when it comes to the direction of how the environment in the house is, we need to be able to make sure that the conversations and the objectives and the vision is one that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that the children are aware of what makes a successful human being. I ask you, some of our brothers today, I know from within our communities, are inspired by, for example, certain individuals that call for masculinity. Or they say the men have to be like this. We mention their names because it's not abstract. This individual like Andrew Tate, for example. I know some of our youth, they're very much, oh, mashallah. He is such a role model. But Maulana, he's Muslim now. So was Saddam and Yazid. So what? All of a sudden, he's now a role model. Why? Because he is somebody who tells us how to become better in life. Ajib. Check his tweets. What does he say? After he became Muslim, only a few months ago, he said the main factor of success in life is wealth. If you have wealth, you're successful. This is the role model you want your children to follow. If you yourself think he's a good person to follow, be careful to associate yourselves with the right individuals. Quran says, يَوْمَ نَدْعُو كُلَّ أُنَاسٍ بِإِمَامِهِمْ. On the day of Qiyamah, you will be called by the individuals that you follow. The hadith says what? الْمَرْءُ يُحْشَرُ مَعَ مَنْ يُحِبْ. You and I will be resurrected on the day of Qiyamah with whom we love. Ajib. But you know, Maulana, I loved that singer, not, just because. But if you have that love for them, then you'll have to bear the consequences. Not only you, but indeed your children. That's the first element. That Sayyidatun Nisa, Amir al-Mu'mineen, created an environment of spirituality at home by leading through example, by being the best role models. Number two, this is very important. Please pay attention to this, because now I will bring some behavioral psychology into the discussion itself. What kind of parent are we? What do we mean? There are 3 styles of parenting. These styles have been discussed in a number of books and research, and indeed some of you may be able to relate. I will give you example of these 3 so that you can identify yourself into one of these categories. The first style or the first type of parent is known as the authoritarian parent. The authoritarian parent functions like this. Everything has to be done through fear or reward. And everything is done through command. You do this, you must not do this. You must do this, you must not do this. All that they function is what? Is through telling their children what to do, and if they do it, they're rewarded in some instances. And if they don't do it, they are punished. Example. They come and say to their child, have you done your namaz, your prayers? No. If you don't pray, then I will not allow you to play your PS. What, 5 now? I will not allow you. Okay, then the child says, oh, I'm not going to miss playing my games console. So he goes and prays. That's the first type of parent, who's an authoritarian parent. In many communities, not in America or in the Western world, but back in Africa, Middle East, they used to also use the stick and the sandals. Those were important tools to make sure that children did what they did. Some of you may say, you know what, it worked on me. I still have the scars from the stick that was used by my parents. Some of you may say, yeah, it was good. It worked on me and now I'm straight. But bear in mind, the children of today think in a different way. Yes? To perhaps the children of 30 years ago. That's the first type of parent. The second type of parent is who? Permissive parent. Please understand. What is permissive parent? A permissive parent is somebody who comes to their child and wants them to do something, but the child doesn't. So he says, it's okay, I leave you whenever you want, no problem. You take your time. I don't want to force you. Comes to the child and says, have you done your Dhuhr and Asr Salah? No. Okay, take your time. Whenever you wish to pray. Are you wearing hijab? No, at 9. Okay, whenever you're ready. If you're ready at 15, no problem. That's the permissive parent. A permissive parent does this because they're scared. They're scared the child will have backlash. there is a high trend of permissive parenting in our communities today, more than authoritarian. Authoritarian was 30 years ago. Today it's become opposite. Why? As a reaction of authoritarian. Because people are saying, I'm not going to use force on my children because I'm worried they're going to hate Islam, they're going to hate Allah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them freedom. Let them choose. So I see a trend in the Western world. Many of our ladies who are in their 50s, 60s, they're in hijab. Their daughters who are in their 20s, they're not wearing hijab. I'm thinking, why? They're walking in the malls and the mother is in hijab, but the daughter isn't. What's going on? Whenever she feels like it, Maulana, don't worry. One day, she will, inshallah, wear the hijab. I don't want to force her. You know, you mentioned barbecue. I don't want to mention. That is the second type of parenting. The third type is, in my humble research, the type that the Ahl al-Bayt alayhum salam developed. It's called authoritative. What is authoritative? Not authoritarian. What is it? It's when the parent has a plan, number one, and long-term parenting is placed more importantly than short-term. And the parent uses tools to discuss with the child and to ensure that the child understands what they're doing and why they're doing it and the repercussions of their actions. Let me give you an example. The parent says to the child, have you prayed Maghrib and Isha? No, I haven't. The parent sits next to the child, eye to eye, not telling them off, and says, can I ask you a question? What do you think about Salah? What's the thing? Do you like it? Do you think it's boring? What's the issue? It's painful. It takes time. It's an effort. But the authoritative parent, what they do is they establish what's known as parent-child connectedness, which today over 6,000 studies have shown is the biggest factor in a successful parent. What does that mean? I am connected to my child. The child can speak to me and I'm speaking to the child in a comfortable manner because I have invested in making sure that they understand what they're doing and I address their concerns. I answer their questions. I don't dismiss them. This is key. I remember a few years ago, one lady came to my office, she was crying. She teaches Nahj al-Balagha in mosque in the UK. She is religious and her husband is practicing. I like the word practicing more than religious. She said to me, you know what happened? My 21-year-old son, I caught him. He's got a relationship with another man. And he says, I don't believe in Allah anymore. I said, what happened? How did this come about? She said, I know. What is it? She said, one of the reasons is he used to attend lectures. And in the mosque, when he attended lectures, he couldn't understand what was being said because it was in a language that he couldn't understand. Number one. Number two, because he kept saying to his father, listen, I know you're dragging me to this, but I don't know what's going on. As a child, you know, sometimes they think in their own way. Number two, when he attended lectures in English that he understood, he had questions. On the way back in the car, he used to say to his dad, Maulana said this, but this doesn't make sense. His father said to him, how dare you question the Maulana? Don't say this ever again. You're not allowed to ask this question. He quietened him, silenced him, until he got to the age of 20s, where now he was influenced by friends and external circumstances. And what? He decided that, you know what, Islam is not the right religion for me. What is it that we need to do? Is invest as a father and the mother in establishing a connection with our children. How do we establish connection with our children? Please understand this. I'll give you example from the lives of these two holy individuals, Sayyidatun Nisa and Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. There are key aspects here. Number one is to listen attentively to our children. Meaning what? To invest time by spending time with them. Number two. Number three, to show them love. To create a household of mawadda. Mawadda in Shia thought is amongst the most important concepts. قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِلَّا الْمَوَدَّةَ فِي الْقُرْبَى. The household of Amir al-Mu'mineen and Sayyidatun Nisa was very much characterized by these aspects. Number one, Sayyidatun Nisa would listen to her children and Amir al-Mu'mineen would do the same. And they would have conversations. There would be never a dismissal of any question or any thought. For example, you have all heard this story. that Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam seeks to ask his mother, "Oh mother, I heard you say something in salah, and I was wondering, why did you pray for all the people that are outside the household, like our neighbors, and then you prayed for us in your Salatul Layl? Why?" Notice, that's something that's reached us. There are so many incidents and stories perhaps that haven't reached us. But this point highlights that he felt comfortable to ask his mother, and his mother was comfortable answering him. When she said to him, "Ya bunay al-jar thumma ad-dar," "Oh my dear son." Bunay in Arabic is not my son. In Arabic, it means my loving, caring, dear son, which means she put attention to expressing love and compassion towards her children. Sometimes the households, especially sometimes with fathers, the way they treat their children, especially when they become a bit older, right? Because they have to show that they are man, macho, strong. They never hug their sons or daughters. They never sit with them, spend time with them. "Oh, no, I don't have time. I work during the week and the weekend. I'm very busy." How much time are we spending with our children? When I say time, it doesn't mean, you know what, I sit next to them and I'm on my phone. "Maulana, I'm spending time, but you know what, I'm reading the news with them." No. Spending time, quality, meaning that I am investing in their interests when they're young, so that they are able to open up to me when they're a bit older. They feel comfortable to come to tell me. And I am not the kind that will punish them immediately if they make mistakes. I use the mistakes to help them become better human beings. That's important. Because sometimes someone comes and says, "You know what, Dad, someone at school showed me this TikTok video, and I feel really bad. I know it's haram. I shouldn't be watching it. I shouldn't be looking at it." Imagine the response. A response of an authoritative parent is, "Tell me, how do you feel? Why do you feel like this? Why is it wrong?" Let them think. Let them express themselves. Let them feel that you care. There is concern. Many a times we are not investing in our children by spending time with them and showing them love. You ask me, how do I show my child love? It could be an easy question, but in reality, sometimes it's very difficult, especially for fathers. Mothers, may Allah bless them, they are very good at showing love. But as parents, as fathers are concerned, sometimes we struggle. In which way? Each and every individual has their unique way of seeking that attention and that compassion. It could be through gifts, it could be through time that you spend together, it could be words of praise and admiration. It could be activities that you do collectively together. Yes? But the key lesson here is the household will nurture through love connection if the husband and wife also show love to each other. Please understand this. Because ajib, sometimes we see the fights that are taking place, the arguments that take place, and the impact it has on our children. For them to be Husseini, they need to see their parents in a good way. Never fight or argue in front of your children. This is a destructive behavior. Number one. Number two, I hear, for example, one person said, "You know, I was brought up in a household where my father and mother are always arguing, are always fighting. Do you know once what happened? That my father and mother, when they argued and had a fight, my mother came to me and said, 'Don't worry. I know exactly how to deal with a fight. This is how you should do when you're older.'" I said to her, "Mom, what do you do when you argue with my dad?" She said, "I go and I clean the restroom, the bathroom." He said, "What do you mean? Is that your way of dealing with the anger and the frustration and the conflict? You go and clean the bathroom?" She said, "Yes." I said, "What? I don't understand." She said, "Don't worry. What I do is I use his toothbrush to clean the bathroom." He said to me, "That's how I learned that in order to win in a fight, I need to revenge. I need to make sure that I do something that makes me feel good." That unfortunate existence of these arguments in front of the children are causing them what? Are causing them to be distant from that loving relationship that they can potentially have. At the same time, it's of the utmost importance that we learn from the life of these illustrious individuals that a successful parent is the one who places Allah first and serving others for the sake of Allah. Be role models in that regard. What do you mean? Once somebody came to the Holy Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, I am hungry and I am a traveler. I don't have any food. It was at night after Salatul Isha. So please, do you have any food? He sent a message to his wives. None of them had any food. There was no fridge at that time. So he said, go to the house, go to Ali ibn Abi Talib, here. He's here in the mosque. So Imam is there. This man comes to him and says, Ya Ali, I'm hungry. Is there any food you can feed me? Imam said, come with me. I'll take you home. Sayyida is at home. She doesn't know that Imam is bringing a guest. When Imam brings this man, he tells her that I have brought a guest. He is poor, he needs food. She says to him, Ya Abul Hassan, I have one portion of food. Neither me or you or the children have eaten. However, we will give him our portion of food. But here's what we're going to do. They have an understanding of serving Allah together. Yes? This is what we're going to do. We need to make sure that the candle is what? Is blown off and it's dark. So that he eats by himself and doesn't see you, Ya Ali, not eating with him. Subhanallah. When the level of magnanimity and generosity is such for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, one thinks in this way. And so Imam alayhi salam brings the food. He removes the candle. It's dark. This poor man sees the food, but he doesn't see Amir al-Mu'mineen. Therefore he starts to eat. And he leaves and says, thank you so much. Next morning, the Holy Prophet of Islam gathers the Muslims and says to Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ya Ali, I need you to tell everyone what you did last night. Why? Because Allah has revealed an ayah in praise of you. What is this ayah? Chapter 59, verse number 9. وَيُؤْثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ. They place others over themselves even though they needed it more. And Allah praised this action of yours. This was what? A demonstration of how a household that's built on wilayah is a household that nurtures the children to be serving others, to make the lives of others better, to do good. That's what we need to nurture amongst our youth and our children, and that can only happen if the parents themselves are committed in making a positive difference in society. The final point I'd like to mention regarding this household and an important lesson for you and I, and that's the Shia identity. As followers of the Ahl al-Bayt alayhim salam, today we're faced with many challenges, many obstacles, many misconceptions. And there are people out there who think that it's okay to allow this to take its own course, that our children are being exposed to poisonous ideologies online by various different groups, people who claim to be Shia, people who are outside the school of Ahl al-Bayt, and they're influenced at universities, campuses, at colleges, at many different places. Today, the responsibility is more than any other time. Why? Because you and I are not aware of a tool that's being used in the Western world, and the number one country that's using it is this country, the United States. It's called soft power. Very briefly, what's soft power? Soft power is opposed to hard power. Hard power is when I use force, when I use weapons, when I use money, whatever, to force people to do certain things. Soft power is when I instill ideas, concepts through the mass media, social media, for example, through education curriculums. People and children and others will begin to believe it because they are flooded with the ideas. They are flooded with the concepts. So gradually they begin to change the way they think about things. And it's a what? A long-term plan. One of the ideas is to dilute the Shia identity. Today, there are people, with all my respect to them, I know they are mistaken, and I know they are not sometimes doing it deliberately, but they come forward and say, I will not call myself Shi'i, I'm a Muslim. It's enough, because calling myself Shi'i or whatever creates a division. It's a matter of conflict and sectarianism. Wrong. Why? I remember once at university, I was talking about this. One brother from the other schools of thought stood up and said, brother, why are you causing this division? The Prophet was not Sunni or Shi'i. We're all Muslims. Don't say you're Shi'i. I said, have you traveled in your life before? He said, yes. What's that got to do with it? I said, have you been to many countries? He said, yes. I said, when you go to countries, is it enough that you give them the passport? He said, no. What else do you need? Visa. I said to him, do you agree? He said, yes. I said, without a visa, will they allow you to enter that country? He said, no. I said, listen very carefully. My passport to Jannah is Islam. My visa to Jannah is the wilayah of Ali ibn Abi Talib. I cannot in any shape or form dilute my identity with the commander of the faithful and the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. This is who I am. I have respect for other Muslims, no problem. I coexist with them. I pray with them. I visit them. I do not incite hatred against anyone in society. I'm a good citizen in the United States or in the Western world. However, that does not in any shape or form contradict the fact that I am a Shia of Ali. I was born a Shia of Ali, and I live a Shia of Ali, and I will die a Shia of Ali, and I will defend being a Shia of Ali. That is my identity. That is my success. That's my key. My children need to understand this. How attendance in majalis, how Islamic education and madrasa, how ziyarah, taking them to these holy sites, how not just taking them, explaining to them. If I can't explain to them, take them with groups that explain to them in a language that they understand. Yes? Oh, but I saw this Masjid al-Kufa. I have no idea what this Masjid al-Kufa is. My parents just told me, do namaz here, 500 rakats, and everything is fine. This is the problem, that it's become a tick list exercise. We need to ensure that our children are cognizant of their what? Of their heritage, of their past, of their association with the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, so that they are truly Husayni, so that they follow in the footsteps of these great individuals, the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That's why you find the 10th of Muharram in Karbala had wonderful examples of couples and families and children who recognized what is it to be Husayni, to follow Abu Abdullah al-Husayn. Imagine that young boy who was 11 came forward to Imam al-Husayn alayhi salam and said to him, Yabna Rasulullah, please give me permission to fight. He said, no, your father has just been martyred. You need to be with your mother. You need to defend your mother. He said to him, Ya Abu Abdullah, Wallah, it's my mother who's encouraging me and I'm here to fight for you. Please don't send me back disappointed. Imam alayhi salam gave him permission. Do you know that young boy, he emerges onto the battlefield. He says, Amiri Husaynun wa ni'mal amir. Surur Fuad al-Bashir al-Nadhir. My master is Hussein, and the best master. He's the one that places happiness in my heart and gives me glad tidings. He fights so courageously for an 11-year-old boy. Eventually he is killed. They send his head all the way to the campsite of Imam al-Hussein. Who picks up his head? His mother. She wipes off the sand from his head, cries and says, oh my dear son, you have joined my husband, your father, in paradise. Send my salam to the Ahl al-Bayt, and you have made me proud before Fatima al-Zahra on the day of Qiyamah. These are the examples of the individuals that indeed looked up towards the family of Ali and Fatima. But the most who would remember Ali and Fatima in Karbala were the children of Ali and Fatima, isn't it? Yes, because the riwayah says, how many times was Sayyida Fatima remembered on the 10th of Muharram by the likes of Abu Abdullah, by the likes of Sayyida Zainab, because the pain of their mother was something indeed that lived on the day of Ashura and beyond for those who are still alive. Sayyida Fatima was present in Ashura, in their words, in their actions, in their tears, because the riwayah says when Abu Abdullah was about to leave, when he was about to go, he is called by his sister Zainab. Zainab said, Mahlan, Mahlan, Yabna Zahra. Oh, the son of Zahra, please come back. When Imam hears the name of his beloved mother Fatima, he returns back. He looks at his sister Zainab. He dismounts from the horse. He says to her, oh my sister, you've called me by the name of my beloved mother Fatima. Tell me why. She says to him, Ya Aba Abdullah, come close next to me. Let me see your neck. Let me feel your chest. Imam alayhi salam showed shows her his neck, allows her to see his chest. She comes, she kisses the neck of Abu Abdullah. She hugs the chest of Hussein. Then she looks towards Medina and she says, Assalamu alayki ya Ummah, ya Fatima. I have committed and I have done what you promised, and I promised to you. The amana has been fulfilled. Imam al-Hussein asks her, what is this amana? What is this trust? She says, Akhi ya Aba Abdullah, on the final moments of the life of our mother Fatima, she said to me, my daughter Zainab, you will see my son Hussein for the final time. But before he goes to the battlefield, kiss him on his neck, embrace him on his chest. Ajib, why the neck? Why the chest? Oh Fatima, Fatima knows what will happen to the chest of Hussein. Fatima knows what will happen to the neck of Hussein. Allahu Akbar. That night, Sham Ghariba is where Fatima Zahra was in the mind and in the thoughts of her daughter Zainab. The riwayah says she fell asleep for a few moments after she had indeed looked after the children, after she had performed her Salatul Layl. In her sleep, she missed the child of Imam. She said, there is an orphan of Abu Abdullah who's missing. She went out on the plains of Karbala, looking left and right, wondering where is this child of Abu Abdullah, until she saw a lady that's fully covered in black, holding this child of Imam. She comes close to this lady. The child is being carried by that lady. Sayyidah looks at her. She can't see her face. Her face is covered. She says to her, oh lady, I will ask my mother Fatima to intercede for you on the day of Qiyamah. You have found one of the children of Imam al-Hussein, that you have looked after the orphan of Abu Abdullah. That lady who had her head down now raises her head. She comes close to Zainab and says, oh Zainab, I am your mother Fatima, Fatima. Sayyidah Zainab begins to cry. Now she sees her mother Fatima Zahra. There is a beautiful description given by the poets of what Zainab would say to her mother. She would say, mother, mother Fatima, I wish you were there to see what I saw today. Oh, mother Fatima, I saw the head of Akbar struck and it was split into two. Oh, mother Fatima, I saw the body of Qasim torn into pieces. Oh, mother Fatima, I had to tell Rabab of Asghar's martyrdom and how he was slaughtered from one vein to another. But imagine, there was one important conversation that Fatima and Zainab have, the mother and the daughter. Zainab said, mother, mother Fatima, when they crushed the chest of Hussein, I remembered when they crushed your chest between the wall and the door, when they broke your ribs. Mother Fatima, when they set our tents alight in fire, I remembered when they set your house in fire and I was there. Oh, mother Fatima, when that wretched man slapped your face, I felt the slap of shimmer on my face and I fell onto the ground. Mother Fatima, there was one sight that my heart stopped and it broke into pieces. That sight is when I saw Shimmer walking towards Abu Abdullah. Your Hussein, oh Fatima, your Hussein was kicked by Shimmer so many times. Oh mother Fatima, they never quenched his thirst. Oh mother Fatima, they even severed his hands. ألا لعنة الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون والعاقبة للمتقين وإنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to raise us with Muhammad wa Ali Muhammad, allow us to live our lives in accordance with the teachings of the Ahl al-Bayt, allow the parents, and may Allah reward the parents in their hard work, their dedications to follow in the footsteps of Sayyidatul Nisa and Amir al-Mu'mineen as exemplary parents. Ya Allah, bless our children to be in the path of the Ahl al-Bayt and to indeed hold on to their Shia identity. Ya Allah, bless our communities to be able to defend the religion of Islam and uphold the principles of the school of Ahl al-Bayt. Wa akhiru da'wana an alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa ila arwahil mu'minina wal mu'minat wa man mata ala al-iman. Rahimallahu man qara al-Fatiha.